A trial begins in Broward for the murder of a well-known rapper. It's the morning after the State of the Union.
I signed over 300 bipartisan pieces of legislation since becoming president.
And the network is live in D.C. And a local restaurant with love as its theme gets ready for a picture-perfect first Valentine's Day.
Man, the atmosphere is so romantic.
These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Amanda Gray.
I'm Lauren Wirtz. Today is Wednesday, February 8th, 2023.
Live from the FIU Lee Kaplan School of Journalism and Media, this is SFMN Newsbreak.
Morning after, today President Biden hits the road to defend the plans he laid out in the State of the Union address. President Biden's highlighted his achievements as he delivered his second State of the Union address last night.
Reporter Claudia Morales from our D.C. Bureau is live this morning on Capitol Hill.
Amanda, Lauren, some of the topics that President Biden covered last night were the economy, immigration, and gun violence, while sending a message of a strong America.
Because the people of this nation are strong. The State of the Union is strong.
Biden delivered his speech with the House controlled by Republicans for the first time since the start of his presidency and called for unity among the parties.
I signed over 300 bipartisan pieces of legislation since becoming president. And to my Republican friends, if we could work together the last Congress, there's no reason we can't work together and find consensus on important things in this Congress as well.
According to political analyst Mike Hernandez of NBC6 in Miami, the president's main selling point was a call to Americans to have faith in democracy.
That was the main message. It wasn't just the theme of finish the job. It was, we've had bipartisan cooperation, and that is why we still have faith, or we should as Americans, in the president's view, in our democracy.
But Hernandez believes that Republicans still will raise their issues.
On the border, you've seen, yes, a slow reduction in terms of who's coming across, but you still see an enormous amount of folks trying to cross over illegally or successfully crossing our border illegally. You see a record amount of fentanyl making its way into the country. And you do see a crime rate that is unacceptably high in certain parts of the country. And of course, the deficit issue.
The parents of police brutality victim Tyre Nichols were present at the speech while the president called for police reforms and a permanent ban on assault weapons. We know that President Biden will be in Florida tomorrow, and he's expected to talk about Social Security and Medicare. It is important to point out that close to 5 million Floridians are beneficiaries in these programs. I'm Claudia Morales in Washington, D.C. for the South Florida Media Network.
Hearing from history's oldest serving president, America got to hear the Republican rebuttal from the woman who is currently the nation's youngest governor. Sofia Zuniga from our D.C. Bureau has more on what Sarah Huckabee Sanders had to say.
Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders delivered the Republican rebuttal from Little Rock, Arkansas. As the youngest governor in the country, she used her age and gender to try to represent a new generation.
I'll be the first to admit, President Biden and I don't have a lot in common. I'm for freedom, he's for government control. At 40, I'm the youngest governor in the country. And at 80, he's the oldest president in American history. I'm the first woman to lead my state, and he's the first man to surrender his presidency to a woke mob that can't even tell you what a woman is.
At 80, President Biden's age is a point of concern for some Americans. According to a Reuters poll, 46% of Democrats do not think he has the ability to run for re-election. The same poll showed that 86% of Americans believe presidents should be 75 or younger.
It's time for a new generation to lead. This is our moment. This is our opportunity. A new generation born in the waning decades of the last century, shaped by economic booms and stock market busts.
Republican Arizona Representative Juan Ciscomani delivered a response in Spanish, saying Biden is pushing policies to hurt families and that they must defend the American dream. Reporting for the South Florida Media Network from Washington, D.C., I'm Sofia Zuniga.
7 more police officers are expected to face disciplinary actions today for their involvement in the death of Tyree Nichols. Yesterday, the Memphis City Council voted to pass public safety reforms to make sure nothing like this happens again, while the 7 new officers prepare for their end-of-the-week hearing.
I think the public really wants to hear one thing. Going forward, how do we prevent what took place in the Tyree Nichols matter?
6 officers have already been terminated, with 5 being charged with second-degree murder, bringing the total number of those involved to 13 in connection to the fatal beating of Nichols during a traffic stop.
The murder trial for the 4 men accused of being involved in the 2018 death of rapper XXXTentacion began yesterday. Dedrick Williams, Trayvon Newsom, Michael Boatwright, and Robert Allen are being charged with first-degree murder. Florida police say that the group allegedly tried to rob the rapper in broad daylight when at least one of the men shot him. The men drove off in an SUV and XXXTentacion died. One of the suspects pleaded guilty in August last year.
Bed Bath & Beyond threatened by bankruptcy. A week after Bed Bath & Beyond announced it was closing 87 stores, the home goods retailer said it was shutting down an additional 150 locations. In a desperate attempt to stay in business, the company raised $1 billion. Despite their efforts, it's reported that they will not be able to remain in business.
3 former Twitter executives are on Capitol Hill today to testify about the handling of the Hunter Biden laptop story. Lawmakers from the House Oversight Committee are investigating why Twitter blocked users temporarily from sharing a New York Post story about Hunter Biden. The story came out in the closing weeks of the 2020 election, which led the committee to question whether or not the government was involved in the decision. The FBI and multiple federal officials have denied these allegations, and Twitter executives say they were just suspicious of anything that looked like foreign influence.
A big day on the basketball court for former Heat star LeBron James.
That's still ahead, and so is this story.
So for Valentine's Day, we really want everyone to have the food love story experience.
A Southwest Miami-Dade restaurant is all about love, and next week will be the first Valentine's Day since opening. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life. But how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have something called prediabetes. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org.
If a natural disaster shows up at your doorstep, you can't just turn it away. That's why it's important to prepare for emergencies before they show up. Go to ready.gov/plan to find the tools and tips you need. And make a plan today.
You really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Money is tight these days, and to make going out to dinner really worth it, it takes an experience for the eyes as well as the appetite, an experience worth sharing. That's the concept behind A Love Story in Southwest Miami-Dade.
We sent the network's Gabriela Perez out there to find out what the restaurant has planned for its first Valentine's Day.
South Florida is ready for the Day of Love as they gather for a cuisine served with a glass of wine. A Love Story winery and bistro will be celebrating their first Valentine's Day after opening up their restaurant last August.
So for Valentine's Day, we really want everyone to have the full love story experience. We want people to feel it as soon as they arrive.
The restaurant includes a porch, dining and wine tasting room, and gardens. A perfect place to take pictures and admire the post-worthy ambiance.
A Love Story was created as a fun yet intimate space for others to make unforgettable moments with their loved ones.
Oh, it's just the environment, the atmosphere is so romantic. Not only for Valentine's, any day, it's so beautiful. You know, you just feel romance all the way in.
Open Tuesdays through Sundays, people are able to make reservations online. For more information, you can visit www.alovestorywinery.com. For South Florida Media Network,
Thank you.
I'm Gabriela Perez.
History has been made last night at the Crypto.com Arena in the Thunder versus Lakers game. LeBron James was just 36 points away from breaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's career NBA scoring record. And after scoring 38 points, LeBron is now the current holder. Celebrities from Bad Bunny to Kareem himself were there in person to witness an addition to LeBron's extensive legacy.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Lauren Wirtz.
I'm Amanda Gray. Get more news anytime at sfmn.fiu.edu.